Hey guys, it's Fred coming at you live with another video. Some of these videos are just hurtful. It's hard to believe that people with badges actually do this. Again, there's times that police officers have to fight, have to wrestle, have to subdue a bad guy. But watch this and see what you think.
Dishonest cops are supposed to be tracked on Brady lists, so attorneys, defendants, and juries know if they can trust an officer's word. But the Brady system relies almost entirely on voluntary reporting by police departments. ABC 15 investigator Dave Biskobing found there is no oversight, so if police don't investigate their own officers or cover things up, officers will never end up on the list.
For years, it was an abuse of force kept quiet. Until we got the video and broke the story.
Get your hands up right now. Get your hands up right now.
A 2017 traffic stop. Glendale officers tasered a man nearly a dozen times in front of his children.
Get in front of the car right now. Get in front of the car. Come on.
And according to a lawsuit, Officer Matthew Schneider delivered the final tase to his testicles as he was handcuffed, laying face down on the blacktop on a 108-degree day. An accident? Well, here's another tase threatened with the stun gun placed on his groin. It's one of the most sadistic cases outside experts told us they'd ever seen.
What's wrong with you?
But this story isn't about the abuse of force. It's about what happened behind the scenes. What happened when a fellow officer raised concerns about Officer Schneider's truthfulness and the fact Schneider pulled over the car for an alleged blinker violation he could not have seen? For more than a year, sources say the department slow-walked an internal investigation. We obtained the case and audio of Schneider's interview.
Just looking at the video, all right, I mean, you can't see through that bottom level, all right? Explain to me how how you could have seen the signal from where you're at.
The angle looks horrible. I'm not gonna lie. Now, obviously, watching this, it's not possible that I saw the violation.
In fact, his own body camera footage shows he's in the back alley at least 16 seconds before turning the corner.
Honest to God, I really believed the day that it happened that I saw the no signal. I don't have any explanation for this camera angle. I really don't.
In the end, Schneider was disciplined, but just for his use of force. In the final suspension paperwork in his personnel file, there is nothing about the unseen turn signal violation.
Right, with no sort of standard.
It's exactly the type of thing defense attorneys fear.
So we have 1,400 names of officers who have got serious credibility issues. But we have no way to know how many more should be on this list. And we probably will never know based on the way the system's set up now.
Right, I mean, that's the problem with the system, right? The gatekeepers to these lists are the very people who have incentive to keep names off the list.
Schneider was Glendale's leader in arrests. The department loved him for it, literally. In his 2017 review, his supervisor wrote, "He has it. He is a bloodhound against criminals and can dig up crime anywhere you put him."
If you don't have a robust internal affairs investigation happening, or you have one that sort of doesn't sustain the allegations or figures out a way to sort of sweep them under the rug, right? That information may never even get to the county attorney's office, which means that officer will never be placed on a Brady list.
Here's something else about the Glendale case. The internal affairs investigator actually concluded it was clear that Schneider could not see through the building to observe the traffic violation. Schneider did not have probable cause, but those findings were overturned by 4 supervisors. Here's what they wrote. "I believe that Schneider did observe a legal traffic stop. The one surveillance video obtained does not have the exact view that Schneider had when the violation occurred." Additionally, Officer Pittman advised in his statement that he observed the turn signal violation from a different camera perspective while reviewing the Motel 6 surveillance footage. Catch that? The day after the incident, record shows Schneider and another officer, Jeff Pittman, claimed they went back to the Motel 6 and saw another camera angle, proving Wheatcroft didn't use his blinker.
Try to get that burned. She said she didn't know how. We asked her if she can get the manager to burn it when he got in the next day, but I don't know if that ever happened.
Can you stand by with Mark?
Pittman is a close colleague of Schneider. They worked together for years, starred in Cops TV together. In this scene, they kicked down a door without a warrant.
Did he lock it?
Yep.
Using a baby stroller for leverage.
Right there is one of the worst things that ever happened in police work was cops, top cops, all these movies that came out over the years, and these other police officers, especially the younger ones, they watch and they see other cops doing this, and then they start doing it, and that's how it all began. It's like that Girls Gone Wild video that used to come on. It's cops gone wild, and I don't know what's happened to them or why they're doing it, but they're only hurting the profession. They're only hurting themselves and all of us that's ever been a police officer. I'm embarrassed to tell anybody. I'm retired now, but I'm embarrassed to tell them I'm a retired 40-year career police officer, because I don't want them to think I'm connected to any of these people today. It's, you've got these other officers covering for these reports or making up excuses. It's not just the one that does the criminal act. You've got co-conspirators that work with you that are supposed to be as honest as that you're supposed to be. And it's just not happening.
With that baby still in it.
Just when you're walking, you need to be on the sidewalk, just not in the street.
In another scene, the pair stop a black man for not walking on a sidewalk, on a road that doesn't have a sidewalk. But back to the other Motel 6 camera, allegedly showing the blinker violation. Apparently, the officers never went back or used their body camera to record the screen at that time.
And you guys weren't able to get that video at all?
No, we asked her, and she says she told us she didn't know.
Now, I don't know if you all are catching that or not, but they asked her to make a video and said she didn't know how. And they said they asked her, do you think you could get the manager to make a video of that? That's after they viewed the car come in without the signal lights, what they're saying. Now, guys, are you all catching that? They're standing there with their cell phones. They're standing there with their camera. All they have to do is take their camera out and film it off the front of the screen. So if you believe, well, I'll just put it like, I don't believe that video ever existed. I don't believe that. And that gave it time to recycle, for the video to relap itself. There's a word for that, but I can't think of it. But then they can say, well, we should have went back and got it, but we didn't, or she didn't make the copy, and now we don't have it now. But yeah, it sure did exist. Well, all they had to do was film it.
Finally, in the highest ranking opinions, a commander and assistant chief ensure findings against Schneider won't be sustained. The video obtained does not prove or disprove what Schneider observed while the vehicle turned into the parking lot. Schneider has been adamant during the entire investigation that he observed the driver fail to signal. In other words, taking an officer's word over video evidence.
A lying cop is extremely dangerous because that officer will routinely come into court, look the judge in the eye, look the jurors in the eye, right, and lie.
Listen, you'll have your day in court, buddy.
I'm going to tell you what happens a lot. A lot of times the officer will overcharge, and I've seen this, but they will overcharge with several charges, and then they will allow the attorney to plead it down to one charge: disorderly, menacing, reckless driving, anything, one charge. Just drop the rest of them, or merge the rest of them in with that one charge. And the person's happy to plead to that one charge rather than taking a chance and going against the police, actually when they're telling the truth and when they're in the right, but rather than stand trial and take a chance on actually being found guilty of several charges, or at least one. If they're charged with several charges, then the chances are they're going to be found guilty of at least one of the charges, so they may as well just plead to one and get it over with. It's sad, but it's true.
And the problem is that the public, who make up the jury, and even judges, right, they want to believe the officers, okay? They want to.
Now, boys, when you lose your credibility as a police officer, you can forget it. I mean, the judges, the attorneys, everybody. You just, once you lose it, you've lost the one thing, your integrity, your character. And these police officers today, they just don't seem to understand that that's one of the biggest, the biggest thing that they've got going for them is their character. For other people can look at them and say, hey, that's a good officer there. That's a fine officer. That's an honest officer. That officer has integrity. But they'd rather look at it as that's a tough guy. He's a tough officer. And again, we're there to protect and serve. We're not if we want to show how tough we are, get into the octagon, get into UFC, get into boxing, karate. But you can't do it out here on the street, and you sure can't do it with a taser and pepper spray.
There's no way to put a number on this problem. No way to know how many cases were never opened, swept aside, minimized. Plus, after a couple years, usually 5, officers can purge misconduct from their personnel files. That's why solving this problem may be the most difficult of all. I'm Investigator Dave Biscobing, ABC 15, Arizona.
Well, after our investigation exposed what happened in this case, the FBI opened a criminal investigation. Federal prosecutors are still considering charges, and the state police board opened a case leading Schneider to voluntarily forfeit his license to be an officer. Our full disclosure investigation continues tomorrow at 6:30. It's a story showing how this broken system can break both ways. You'll meet a Phoenix officer put on the Brady list for blowing the whistle on his own department's.
And that makes sense. I can see that happening because that's a no-no. And that's why a lot of police officers don't speak up. Guys, thanks for joining me on this video, and catch you on the next one.